afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jitsin Independent High School Interclass Debate Competition. Our topic today is abortion should be legalized. On my right is the government team from A2A, A2B, consisting of Mr. Benjamin Chang as the first speaker, Mr. Chong Wei Shin as the second speaker, Ms. Lu Zhixing as the third speaker, and Mr. Kogulan as the fourth speaker. And on my left is the opposition team from A1C, consisting of Mr. Or Daniel as the first speaker, Mr. Lu Bing Song as the second speaker, Ms. Ang Kai Xuan as the third speaker, and Ms. Lim Jiayun as the fourth speaker. Now, I would like to introduce our team of adjudicators. Ms. Eileen as the chief adjudicator, and the other adjudicator are Ms. Lim and Ms. Jeffrey. I, Zion, will be the chairperson for this debate, and Diana will be the timekeeper. Now, I'm going to introduce the rules of today's debate competition. Firstly, the maximum speaking times are 5 minutes for each speaker and 4 minutes for reply speech. There are no maximum times. Next, during the rebuttal, members may not bring up any new arguments or new evidence, except in direct refutation of material which has already been presented. Then, member will speak only when called upon by the speaker. There is to be no heckling. Besides, all speakers should attempt to both deliver at least one POI and to accept one POI during the course of the debate. There is no continuous POIs allowed. It is considered as heckling. Furthermore, the first minute of each constructive speech is considered protected time during which no POI can be made. In addition, no POI and new main point may be made during the reply speech. Moreover, the government must define the resolution. The definition must be accepted unless it is undebatable or unreasonable. Lastly, is the time limit of the competition. Time given is 5 minutes. The first bell will ring after the speaker speaks for 1 minute, like this. After 1 minute, member of the opposition team can then raise the POI. After the speaker has spoken for 4 minutes, the bell will ring like this. POIs can still be made after this. POI's time is given 15 seconds. After the bell rang, the speaker will have to stop. And after the speaker has spoken for 5 minutes, the bell will ring twice, like this. The speaker will have to stop. I now call upon the first speaker of the government to present his case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
Thank you, everyone. A very good afternoon to the honorable judges, members of the floor, and my lovely opponent. My name is Benjamin, and I'm the first speaker from the government team. As the first speaker from the government team, I'll be first defining the motion today, and I'll also be defining the keywords of today's topic. And I'll also be giving out my first point, which is human rights. My second speaker, Mr. Chong, will be giving out 2 points. The second point of his is children are forsaken or after birth cause problems. And his third point is health issue. Now, my third speaker, Ms. Lu, will be mainly doing rebuttals and summing up our team case. Lastly, my fourth speaker, Mr. Kogulan, will analyze the clash in today's debate and prove to all of you why we are stronger and why we should win this debate. Now, moving on to defining the keywords. Abortion. An abortion is a medical procedure that ends a pregnancy. It is a basic health care and needs for millions of women, girls, and others who can become pregnant. And aborting a brain-dead baby is also considered as abortion. For your information, 61 countries, including much of Europe, allows abortion without any restriction. I repeat, without any restriction. So, in case the opponent is trying to bring out US as an example that made abortion illegal, it is totally irrelevant because yesterday morning, the White House actually makes abortion legal without any restrictions. Now, before moving on to my main point, imagine this scenario. Someone you love, someone you care, someone who's living a happy life, or someone who's getting married. They got raped. And unfortunately, leads to pregnancy. And when this happened, how do you feel? Are you willing to raise that kid up? I bet not. So why do I mention about human rights? Because access to a safe abortion services is human rights. Under international human rights law, everyone has a right to life, a right to health, and a right to be free from violence, discrimination, and torture, inhumane, and degrading treatment. Human rights law clearly spells out that decisions about your body are yours alone. Your body is yours. And if you are not legalizing abortion, which means you are actually not respecting the victim's choice. And if it's illegal to practice abortion, it will cause health issues, which will actually brings up by my second speaker later. With that being said, forcing someone to carry an unwanted pregnancy or forcing them to seek out an unsafe abortion, it is a violation of their human rights, and this is the real inhumane. Now, access to abortion is therefore fundamentally linked to protecting and upholding the human rights of women and girls. For your information, India, we all know that they have the highest rape case in history. Some of the kids don't even know who their parent is. And when this happens, the kid lack of attention and lack of love. And this will actually cause social problems, which will also bring up by my second speaker later. So, after all being said, I hope the adjudicators have a clear view and stand with us, the government side, to turn this policy into a reality. With that being said, we, the government team, strongly agree with the motion today, which is abortion should be legalized. And I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you. The first speaker has spoken for 3 minutes and 44 seconds. Next, first speaker of the opposition to present his case. Time given is also 5 minutes. Please.
A very good morning to my honorable judges, teachers, and my worthy opponents. I'm Daniel from the first speaker of my team. Before I start my speech, I would like to introduce my teammate. Second teammate of my team is Mr. Lu Bing Chong. He is doing rebut and giving out 2 points to support our point of view. Ms. Kai Xian, the third speaker, will do the rebut. And finally, our fourth speaker, Giant, will make the conclusion. As the first speaker, I would like to give the definition of abortion and legacy. The definition of abortion is termination of human pregnancy internationally. For the sake of the debate, we would like to switch the term of abortion refer to the termination of pregnancy due to the mother not wanting the child, and it is not referring to the case where the pregnant mother is termination the pregnancy due to healthy reason. The definition of legacy is to allow something by law. And my first point is abortion is akin to murder, and it is the act of taking human life. No civilized society permit one human to intentionally harm or take the life and other human without punishment. And abortion is not different. Our civilized society accepts cause death to another man. So taking someone's life is accepted under certain conditions. For example, police and army. Generally, we only inflict violence on others when they have caused violence. It is not acceptable to bring death to creatures who have not intentionally caused physical harm. Thank you.
Thank you. The first speaker has spoken for 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Next, second speaker of the government to present his case. Time given is also 5 minutes. Please begin.
Very good afternoon to the honorable educators, members of the floor, and my worthy opponent. My name is Wei Xun, and I'm the second speaker from the government side. As the second speaker, I'll be rebutting the first speaker from the opposition side and giving out my 2 points. The first speaker of the opposition side said that abortion is considered as a murdering on babies. But according to research from UK Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, fetuses aged 24 weeks or less do not have the brain connections to feel pain and a fetus is not legally or scientifically a person or human being, so abortion cannot be equated to be murdered or taking a life, since the fetus is not a person nor a life. Now, let me carry on with my speech, starting from my first point. Children that are forsaken before or after birth will cause problem. Children that are abandoned from the very beginning will be in lack of love from their parents. For example, children that are neglected by their parents will feel lonely and emotional emptiness. For information, emotional emptiness is a tragedy and leads to a suicidal tendency, which invokes a hopeless state of mind, breeds on ground of loneliness and a feeling of being unloved, abused, and neglected. According to the New York Times, teen suicide has been increasing from 7.8% in 2011 to 15% in 2018. 4,500 teens die every year on suicide. Many of these teens are from troubled and poverty families. They felt unloved and neglected by their parents. Other than that, children that are abandoned by their parents tend to have the characteristic of abandoned child syndrome, such as social alienation, anxiety, insomnia, anger issues, and depression, etc. The most serious issue is anger issue. There are cases of teenagers hurting and murdering just because of their anger issue. As example, on April 26, 2018, Robert Steinhauser, 19 years old, after getting expelled from Gutenberg Gymnasium School in Germany for a few days, he had carried out a massacre in his school, and his parents wasn't aware about his violent behavior and whereabouts during the past few days of the massacre. And this leads to the death of 16 people. So if the parents don't have the time and love for their children, why not choose abortion at the early stage of pregnancy, but then ruin not only their life but also others? Next, my second point will be abortion protects women from health problems. People who do not want children yet will have their safety measurements before sex, but sometimes stuff really do happens, and they have to make their choice on keeping or aborting the fetus. Because having a child is an important decision that requires consideration, preparation, and planning. There are some women who could not take risks of giving birth a child because of their health condition, but they are forced to give up their life just because abortion is illegal and they don't have any other options other than giving birth of the child. A fertility investigation found that women who had at least 2 abortions experienced by the same future fertility as those who had at least 2 natural pregnancies. So, abortion didn't really affect a person in her future fertility. So we can consider it as an effect on our health. When there's a way, there's a will. People who wanted abortion will then seek for unsafe, illegal abortion. According to the World Health Organization, there are about 68,000 maternal deaths worldwide each year. Many of those in developing countries where safe and legal abortion services are difficult to access. Despite of that, women who were denied abortions felt more regret and anger and less relief and happiness, according to the studies by the American Physiological Association. So, if legalizing abortion can not only save life and also kill mental issues, why banning it and cause more burden to other people? After I say it, I hope the educators have clear will and stand with us, agreeing with the motion today, which is abortion should be legalized. With that, I am against. Thank you.
Thank you. The second speaker has spoken for 5 minutes and 2 seconds.
A very good morning to our honorable judges and
Next, second speaker of the opposition to present his case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
a very good morning to our honorable become the second speaker of the opposition team. As a second speaker, I will be doing rebuttals and state out our second point and third point. Let's talk about our second point, which is abortion is a very inhuman action. The abortion can be performed with a saline solution injected into the amniotic fluid, and the unborn child swallows the solution and dies of salt poisoning. This solution causes painful burns to the child, and it usually takes over an hour to let it dead. And this action is very cruel and inhumane. And every life is precious, and if the pregnant woman saw their own unborn child get killed, it will affect the mental health of pregnant women and cause depression. And it may ruin the woman's entire life. Next, the risk of abortion of the whole policy. For example, the case of condom vending machine in US schools. Many people are shocked because they believe that by having a vending machine, it's telling the kids that they can have sex as long as it is safe sex. If we legalize abortion, it's like the government telling the society that it's okay to have random sex as long as you abort the baby. And it should not even be in the discussion because abortion should be illegal. If you legalize, the risk of the effect are far too complicated, and more rules need to apply to solve the problem it created. By the way, if you legalize abortion, you are telling the whole society that abortion is accepted, and the whole world will disrupt due to this changes. Thank you.
Thank you. The second speaker has spoken for 2 minutes and 1 second. Next, third speaker of the government to present the case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
A very good morning to honorable educators, members of the floor, and our worthy opponents. I'm Hyundu, the third speaker from the government team, and my team strongly believes that abortion should be legalized. So, now let me start my speech by rebutting the first speaker from the opposition side. He mentioned that aborting a health-issued baby is not abortion. So, may I ask, then what is abortion? What is taking off a health-issued baby from your uterus? What action is that called? I look forward to your answer in your further speaker. So, speaking of which, if you don't abort a health-issued baby, then what would you do? Would you keep the baby and give the pregnancy to an unwanted baby and then abandon it? Is that humane to do? So, for the second speaker, he mentioned that abortion is an inhumane action. Then, same thing. What would you do if you have an unwanted pregnancy? So, the only main way to solve this problem is to legalize abortion, like what my team believes, and so that women can get actual care and safe medication and procedures to help them solve their problem. So, when you give birth to an unwanted child and you abandon them, is that acceptable to you? And he mentioned that government, by legalizing abortion, it means that government is encouraging random sex. I think that it is completely irrelevant to today's topic, because if you want to say so, then in our view, government should legalize abortion and further educate people that random sex is not okay. But it has nothing to do with legalizing abortion. So now let me strengthen my case. My first speaker has mentioned that 61 countries allows abortion without any restrictions. And just yesterday morning, US has already legalized abortion. And please take note that US is one of the most powerful countries in the whole wide world. So if US say so, then there's a reason for us to think twice that abortion should be legalized. Second, he mentioned that human rights supports to say your body is yours. So, members of the floor, if you are here enjoying your human rights now, then please spare a moment for the poor, weak, rape victims and fight with us for this policy to stand. Second, our second speaker has stated the shocking numbers of young pregnant teenagers committing suicide because they have unwanted pregnancy. But we have to know and keep in mind one thing, that accidents happen because it is an accident. How can you have proof or actual evidence that if you really did everything you could to avoid accidents, are you sure that accidents won't happen? Because in history shows us that no matter how hard you try, accidents sometimes do happen and is unavoidable. So that's why we should legalize abortion, to make sure that everyone is in safe circumstances. So, as my second speaker has also mentioned, if one wants to abort the baby, then they will try every way and try everything they can do to make sure that they abort the baby. So, if you have unwanted pregnancy, then one would take every risk to abort the baby because the pregnancy is not wanted. According to US News, women from Ireland are forced to travel to England to abort their fetus. Ireland officially announced every year up to 3,000 Ireland women travel overseas just to abort their baby. So from the 18th centuries, there are already 100,000 of women forced to abort their fetus overseas. So why take all the trouble for your own citizens to travel overseas just to abort an unwanted baby? And who knows if the medications and or the hospitals there are safe. So if we legalize abortion, we can make sure and ensure the safety and health of our women citizens in our country, to make sure that they're in our own care and they're in good condition. So after all things that, after all we've proved and mentioned, we strongly believe that abortion should be legalized, and we urge members of the floor to stand with us to make this policy stand. With that, I leave it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. The third speaker has spoken for 5 minutes and 2 seconds. Next, third speaker of the opposition to present the case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
Thank you, Chairperson, Council people. I'm An Kai-shun, standing here as the third speaker in supporting that abortion should not be legalized. Firstly, as the first speaker of the opposite team mentioned that pregnancy after rape, according to the 2016 FBI report, less than 0.5% of abortions are due to rape or incest, while a combined 7% were due to health concerns for either the fetus or the mother. This leaves over 92% of abortions for other reasons. And also, adoption service are already exist. If a mother wishes not to raise the child, then seems like a much more acceptable.
You're trying to bring in You're trying to bring in FBI and you're trying to bring USA. As I just stated that anything related to USA is irrelevant from yesterday morning. Thank you.
If everyone is using the rights, like just now you all mentioned, or freedom to do whatever they think is necessary, crime will happen everywhere. For example, is one right to sell their body for prostitution? Is one right to be a molester? Where will it stop? But having abortion means opening up chances for more possible problems in the name of protecting the rights.
POI?
No, we are not proposing that we should not respect women's rights, but we are saying that legalizing abortion is not the best way to solve unwanted pregnancies because it's inhuman and immoral. And then secondly, you also mentioned like lack of love. There are a lot of research shows that many children at last success in their future without methods of love. And then it's not saying that without lack of love will not make them to success, and it's not valuable for them to live over and just do the abortion to them. And then precautions are taken. Accidents can and do happen. In certain cases, abortion isn't necessarily bad, but when people use
Yes, I agree with you that crimes happen everywhere. But are you trying to say that illegal abortions can stop crime? Thank you.
And then for the continue to the points that you all said just now, the human life begins after they were born. The United States anti-abortion movement or the pro-life movement or right to live movement contains elements opposing elective or therapeutic abortion on both moral and sectarian grounds and supports its legal prohibition or restriction. Advocates generally argue that human life begins at conception and that the human zygote or embryo or just features is a person and therefore has a right to live. That's all.
Thank you. The third speaker has spoken. The third speaker has spoken for 3 minutes and 53 seconds. The first, second, and third speakers from the government and opposition have delivered their speeches. Before the both teams deliver their revised speeches, each team will be given 2 minutes to discuss. Starts now. Alright, the discussion time is up. Here is the rules for revised speech. After the speaker has spoken for 3 minutes, the bell will ring like this. And after spoken for 4 minutes, the bell will ring twice. The speaker will have to stop. Now is the time for revised speech. We will now invite the opposition to present her revised speech. Time given is 4 minutes. Please begin.
Good morning to the honorable judges, teachers, and my working opponents. So, I'm the court speaker, Lim Chen, and I'm going to do a reply speech. So, my first main clash is that abortion is murdering. Because abortionist says the arms and leg and other part of the body from the baby with a twisting motion and touch it from the body until only the head remains. So, and this action reflects to the point that were claimed by my second speaker, Dick Chong, abortion is inhumane. So we have proven again that abortion is not natural and should not be legalized. So the third point that are given by my team is risk of the whole policy. If abortion is being legalized, that means it shows to everybody that abortion is acceptable, that our society will be spoiled because of this little change. So, I will do some summarize for the government viewpoint. They say that babies that are adopted by other parents maybe will lack of love, but there are a lot of successful teenagers that are actually no mother love. For example, Steve Jobs. And also health issues. After aborting a baby, the mother will gain maybe health issues from their uterus and maybe cause death. And the rape issues that are spoken by the government team, actually rape is only 5% of tapes women got pregnant after rape. And according to the AtlanticHealth.com, pregnancy after rape is really rare. And the female body has ways to try and shut that whole thing down. So if we are aborting a baby without any reason, then it was not what human beings should do. Because people were killed because of some reason, for example, crime or sickness that must be killed. So we can't legalize abortion. So my team strongly believes that abortion should not be legalized, not for only women's safety, but also for the peace of work. Thank you.
Thank you. The reply speaker has spoken for 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Now, let's invite the government to present the reply speech. Time given is also 4 minutes. Please begin.
Thank you, John. A very good afternoon to the honorable educators, members of the floor, and my worthy opponents. My name is Kobula, and I am the fourth speaker from the government team. As the fourth speaker, I'll be doing the replying speech, and I'll also be finding out the main thrust of today's debate, which is about abortion. Now, I will first sum up our team's point, which is the first point, human rights. The second and third point, forsaken children before or after birth will cause problem, and abortion protects women from mentally and physically health problems. So is my opponent's point, which is taking human life and inhuman action. The clash in today's debate is inhuman and inhumane. We already proven that taking away a brain dead baby is not inhumane, because they can't really feel anything. But it's inhumane to disrespect a human's will, like my first speaker stated. Our team is clearly stronger than the opposite side because our points are more reasonable than theirs. Like my first speaker mentioned about human rights. He also clearly stated why not legalizing aborting baby is actually inhuman and not respecting people. And also the poor rape victim who deserve a second chance for the unwanted pregnancy. And abortion is the termination of the pregnancy, not a baby. Personhood at conception is not a proven biological fact. Fetuses are incapable of feeling pain when an abortion is performed, so it is not inhuman at all. As the reply speaker is Miss Gilbert by saying only 5% of women raped. Let us clearly stated that every minute in India, one woman is raped. For my second speaker, also stated that forsaken children before or after birth will cause problem and abortion protects women from mentally and physically health problems. Abandoned child will cause problems to the society as they will have characteristic abandoned child syndrome such as social alienation, insomnia, anger issues, and all of these will cause serious disaster to not only to their families and also to the society. Legalized abortion will allow women to receive safer medication or surgery. My second speaker also talks about how making abortion illegal causes unsafe abortion and eventually harms both mothers and baby's life. As a conclusion, do any of here agree that just because someone make a mistake, you have to suffer for your internal life? So, we as a government team strongly support that abortion should be legalized. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The reply speaker has spoken for 3 minutes and 16 seconds. We have now come to the end of the debate. Please adjourn for our adjudicators to make a decision. Thank you.